guys, this is Not Lambers of Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today we're taking a look at my new Performapal Pendulum deck profile. I have changed this and updated it quite a bit, actually literally since I showed it in the other deck profile. I wanted to make sure that this deck was new ban list legal, because like I mentioned, the ban list did hit and kind of hit the deck, but I have changed it up a bit, and I am super excited to show you this version. So with that out of the way, before we get into the deck profile, down in the description there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, our Ko-fi, the Invoked 101 Cash App, and the Discord. So if you feel like supporting the channel in any way, that is where to do it. That is the quickest way to that. And anyways, and with that out of the way, we're going to set the extra deck off to the side, and we're going to get right into the main deck. Zoom in just a bit. Starting off, we have, of course, the three new cards. This is Performapal Celestial Magician. This guy is honestly pretty awesome. He's an 8-scale Performapal Magician, and his effect is when exactly one, his pendulum effect is when exactly one face-up fusion, synchro, or Xyz monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can special summon that destroyed monster, then destroy this card. You can only use this effect of Celestial Magician once per turn. Then its monster effect is during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can apply the following effects for the rest of this turn based on the other monsters you currently control. Fusion, this card can attack directly. Synchro, your opponent cannot activate monster effects. Xyz, this card's attack becomes double its original attack. Or Pendulum, during the end phase, add one Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Celestial Magician once per turn. So he's really cool. Basically, you special summon him, and then whenever you get out the one you want, you activate his effect. So like if you summon out a Synchro monster and then get this guy out, or you get this guy out and then summon a Synchro monster, you can activate his effect to basically turn off your opponent's monster effects for the turn, which is pretty awesome. Then after him, we have three Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. Unfortunately, I only had one super rare laying around. I thought I had more. But Pendulum Sorcerer is really cool. His on special summon effect is that you get to pop up to 2 cards you control, and then add 2 Performapal monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, which is pretty awesome. So some really cool targets for him are Lizard Draw and Guitartle. These are really cool because these let you draw cards. These are like kind of the draw engine. Their monster effects don't really matter. I've never used them as monsters. Guitartle's effect is if a Performapal card is activated in your other Pendulum zone, you can draw a card. And then Lizard Draw's effect is if you have a Performapal card in your other Pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, draw 1 card. So this lets you draw 2, which is really cool. And I like playing 2 each. I just feel like that's a good number. Then after that, we have Odd Eyes Unicorn and Odd Eyes Phoenix. Both of these are just really defensive cards, more so. This is a good 8 scale. That's a level 1 as well. And this is just a level 5. That's a 3 scale that lets you special summon it if your opponent attacks directly. And it has a 2000 body. Then we have probably the last good search target for Sorcerer, which is Odd Eyes Dissolver. If you don't know what Odd Eyes Dissolver does, while it's in the scale, it's polymerization, which is pretty awesome. And it's a 4 scale, which kind of sucks, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's also a level 7, so if you summon out if you fusion summon and then, or like you link summon, then you use this to fusion summon, and then you synchro into Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. You can bring this out, overlay Odd Eyes Meteor Burst into the other one. But this helps make Vortex without having, this hard makes Vortex, which is the main reason. So after that, that's it for the Performapals. I'm still playing 3 Chrono and 1 Time Gazer. I felt that these are really cool. These are just more special summons to get off. Also, Chrono's an 8 scale that summons a monster, which is pretty dope. I just felt that those were really nice. And then for the last Magicians we play is 2 Harmonizing. This can special summon out Celestial Magician from the deck and then negates effects. Basically, we're using this as a link material because there's 2 Spellcaster link monsters that we can use this with. And it doesn't need Magicians to be the other link material, but it does just free up the... yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. You know what, you get it. Oops. Then I'm playing a small level 7 package in the form of 2 Odd Eyes and 2 Mist Valley Apex Avian. This is basically just to give the deck more level 7s and a good level 7, as well as a bit of a negate. So I really like this. I think the 2 Apex Avian is fine. I like the 2 Odd Eyes because there's a card that lets you search it, and it's honestly not a bad card to search because it is a pendulum, it is level 7, so, and sometimes you just need a beater. So that's it for that. Then we have the Mythical Beast engine in the form of 2 Cerberus and 2 Jackal. I felt that these were fine moving forward. It's more spellcasters. This is basically Pendulum Performapal spellcasters. So those are nice just to have for beaters and negates, because you can rack up some negates on Jackal, and because this is a kind of a level 7 Pendulum deck, where like Pendulum summons level 7, he's a 6, so you'll be able to get him out pretty easy. Then we have our Dragon engine in the form of 2 Destrudo, 1 0, and 2 Darkworm. Again, more special summons just to get stuff out of the deck. Just synchro summon into Meteor Burst, which is actually really important now, and a free 0 scale, as well as a level 7. So that's the main reason we're playing those. No hate about those. I actually really like that. I think those are really good. So after that, we have the spells in the form of the new spell, Performapal Pop-Up, or Popper Up, whatever. Anyway, so what this does, it lets you discard up to 3 cards from your hand, and then special summon Magician, Performapal, and Odd Eyes monsters from your hands whose levels are between the scales that you currently control. And if you don't Pendulum special summon any monsters off of this, you get 1,000 damage per card. But you can special summon just 1 off of this, because it lets you choose how many you want. You can special summon 1 if you want, and then you don't take any damage. This is a really cool card, and it's kind of busted in that sense, because it does let you dig through your deck to draw stuff, and as long as you have a Performapal in your hand before you activate this effectively works as just a discard and draw. So this is kind of cool. It's kind of like a big Dark World Dealings. Then we have 1 Spiral Flame Strike to search that the Odd Eyes monsters. 2 Dragon Shrine to send dragons to the graveyard, along with a Ravine. And speaking of drawing cards, we have Pendulum Halt, which lets you, if you have 3 or more face-up pendulums with different names, lets you draw 2, but you can't draw afterwards. So this is kind of like an end-of-turn thing to do, just to activate it and get more cards in your hand, or to get more extenders to continue into bigger plays. Because this deck doesn't draw a lot. Like, realistically, the only draw cards are Popper Up and Halt, so it doesn't really matter. After that, into the extra, we have 1 Daybreaker, the Magical Swordsman. He's kind of cool. He lets you pop cards. He's mainly just here as a new link too, because he needs 2 spellcasters, so half the deck is like spellcasters, so he's pretty easy to make. We also have 1 Crowley, again for the same reason. He's a spellcaster, but Daybreaker is bigger with his 1600, so probably you're going to go into him more. Then we have Zephyr Metaltron, just to we take one of these 2 and then we turn it into this, use it with a Vortex, or to get Vortex. We also have 1 Saryuja Skulldread because it is super easy to make in this deck. It's a Pendulum deck, and this lets you special summon from the hand. It's fantastic. That's it for the links for XYZs. I'm playing Tornado Dragon and Abyss Dweller and Odd Eyes Absolute. Tornado and Abyss because they're really good rank 4s, just good generic stuff. And then we also have Absolute because it's a level 7 deck. For synchros, I'm just playing some really good level 7 synchros like Fast Dragon because, 1, it's also a pendulum, which is kind of neat, but it's also an extra deck negator. Spell Negation with Dawn Dragster, Cyber's Quantum because it's honestly like a really cool little synchro monster, and then 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst because it's really important to the combos in this deck. And as for fusions, Vortex because we can hard make it and summon it off of the Absolute. Rune Eyes because we can summon this with Dissolver, and Gatling Ghoul because we can summon it with Dissolver. I thought these were really just like, these are just kind of there to play. You don't have to play them. Realistically, the only one you need is Vortex, but because we are playing Dissolver and you're not always going to have everything, and sometimes Rune Eyes can be a game winner. And Gatling Ghoul is also for time, because if you see the Pendulum Sorcerer and you're able to get him out, you can make this and burn for damage. So that's pretty cool. That's really it for the deck. That is kind of it for the Performapal deck. I like Performapals. I like to imagine I like Performapals at least. Let me rephrase that. They were a deck I built way early on when I first got back into the game, and they do hold a bit of a special place in my heart, and it does kind of hurt that like I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, how did I ever like play Performapals back in high school? And it's like, I guess I just didn't. But yeah, so this deck is pretty fun, pretty interesting, and definitely something that does hold a bit of a special place in my heart. And I'm actually really excited to have a Performapal deck again, even if it is kind of this like clustered mess of a Performapal deck. I think that it's a fantastic addition to the collection. Anyways, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Down in the description, there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, our Ko-fi, and our Cash App, as well as our Discord. So if you feel like supporting the channel, that's where to do it. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.